On today's video, we are going to do a little mid-year refresh on my now top 9. Hi friends! Welcome back. My name is Amanda and welcome to my channel, AceKreates. Originally, it was a top 12, but after some thoughtful consideration on what I plan to do for the rest of the year, it is now a top 9. So let's deep dive into my thoughts and ideas for the rest of the year in my crochet and knitting journey. So let's get into the video. So at the beginning of the year, I originally put together 12 items that I wanted to make this year. Now, of course, that still gave me a lot of flexibility to make more than 12 or less than 12, giving myself some grace. But as I am hitting the center part of the year, the midway of the year, we are now in July, I wanted to give myself the opportunity to refresh my top 12. So a few things kind of why I am updating this list. You know, as I go through this list, a couple of thoughts that came to mind. So my original make 12 was extremely knit forward. And when I made this list, I had only completed, I think maybe 3 or 4 knitted items. I had completed 2 Oslo hats, the Sophie shawl, as well as another cowl. And I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, I knew it was very aggressive when it came to kind of knitting goals, but my original top 12 had 9 knit projects on it, which is crazy because I'm mostly a Tunisian crocheter. And so I didn't have a lot of Tunisian crochet on that original list. And I had a lot of I don't want to say complicated knit projects, but just very aggressive goals when it came to knitted projects. And so I really wanted the opportunity to reduce the number of knitted projects while also still doing some, as well as adding some Tunisian crochet. And I wanted my make 9 to be, of course I wanted to like stretch myself, but I also wanted to make sure that I completed several items from this, because at the rate I was going, I might have only completed 4 with the original 12. And I really wanted to feel like a sense of accomplishment with a bit more. It also gives me the opportunity to reevaluate some projects. Perhaps some of the projects that I'm working on gets to go into the new make 9 and really give myself that opportunity to have more projects completed. So the first thing I want to talk about is my completed objects that I have finished thus far. The first project that was actually on my list and that I completed earlier this year in January is a Tunisian crochet cardigan called the Cardi. This is the Cardi, which is a pattern by Toni Lipsey of TL Yarn Crafts, and it is Tunisian crochet. It is mostly Tunisian simple stitch with Tunisian crochet honeycomb accents around the edging, both at the body hem and the opening of the cardigan, as well as the sleeves. This took me about a month to finish. I'm not exact on that, but about a month to finish. And I really love this cardigan. I made the size 2XL, which I'm very thankful that I did. And I love it. I wear it as an outer piece over t-shirts or other knitted or crochet layering pieces. So I use it as a layering piece. And I really want to make another. The only thing that I would change, I might consider changing 2 things. I might consider doing a version with the knit stitch, but I know that's going to eat up quite a bit of yarn, so I have to make sure that I have enough yarn to do that. This took about 7 skeins of yarn, and I used Baliora Fibers Tweed DK. And the other thing I would do is make sure that I'm alternating skeins. I did that for most of this, but as you can see, I didn't start because one, I was a little lazy and didn't want to rip back my project. But I would alternate skeins now. Just, you should do that when you're using hand-dyed yarn. Alternate your skeins. Don't be lazy like me. So that is the first completed project that I did on my for my projects for the year, in my original top 12 and my new Make 9. I'm just gonna refer to it as Make 9 now. And obviously since it's completed, I check that box off, so that's not going anywhere in the new Make 9. The second project that I completed this year that was on the original and obviously still on the new version is my Lento. And this is also my first completed knitted project, and I just noticed something that I might have to go in and fix. I might have a drop stitch. I can't tell. But anyways, that's my Lento, and this was my first ever knitted garment. I'm really proud of it. I used the yarn Ruby and Roses. They're soft rose and rose cloud, which is the Surrey and fingering held together. Their fingering is an 85-15 with 437 or 38 yards in a skein, and I absolutely love that base. I can definitely see myself doing more Ruby and Roses in the future. This was the first time I was able to work with them. The colorway is Mistletoe Mixer, and I just absolutely love this sweater. It's definitely not a summer sweater with the Surrey, and I wore this quite a bit when I first finished it, and I can see myself wearing it quite a bit later this year once it cools down, or at least gets somewhat more controllable in the weather. But it's 100 degrees here in Los Angeles, so it's really too hot to wear. So it's just sitting all folded and neat in my finished objects storage, garment storage. And this took me, I think, from cast on to cast off. I cast it on in early February, but I cast it off in April or May. Did I cast off in May? Let's double check that. I cast off in May. So it definitely didn't take as long as the timeline had said. I cast off beginning of February, I cast off May 21st, but it didn't take 4 months. I was probably only actively working on it for about 6 to 8 weeks of that timeline, but I had a lot of other competing projects as well as deadlines during that time, so it didn't take me that long. So this is my Lento. I love it. I can see myself making another Lento. I really want to make a short sleeve version and one without Surrey. So we'll see in the future. I do have a lot of other projects I want to make as well, but I can definitely see myself making another Lento in the future. It's just a really great raglan knitted project. I love the open gauge of it. I know that Leslie from Knit California is making an open gauge drop shoulder that I'm really excited to see come out, and so I might make that part of my Make 9 for next year. But we'll see. I really love the idea of an open gauge sweater, and it really introduced me to just knitted garments and got me really comfortable with raglans, which is why some of the projects that I'm working on right now are raglans, because I'm really comfortable with raglans and exploring how to do the different increases, whether it's a make one left, make one right, knit front and back, all that kind of thing. So it allows me to kind of slowly kind of build up some skills and things like that. So my Lento by Jonna Hellin. The final finished object that I have for you, both part of the original and the new Make 9, is my double take Tunisian crochet tank top. It is a Tunisian crochet tank top by Kayla Wood of K Crochets. And it's super easy, beginner friendly. I think it took me about a month to do this. Again, had multiple competing priorities, so I could have done it a lot faster. I used Sorella's Silk DK, which is a 50-50 silk merino blend. I absolutely love that yarn. I can see more of that yarn in my future. I have nothing bad to say about that yarn. It's a great summer yarn. So I actually have 2 summer tops in this Silk DK, and I can see more of that in my future. It was super easy construction. It's just 2 panels that are just slightly different, seamed together to make a Tunisian crochet tank top. What I love the most and what really attracted me to this is this keyhole in the back with a little button that you sew on. You can take this off not take it off, but unbutton it and then rebutton it. So that way when you put it over your head, you know, if you have a big head like mine, you don't accidentally break it. Yeah, it's super beginner friendly. It's mostly simple stitch, and then you have regular crochet border as well, ribbing, as well as some regular crochet accents along the arm holes and the neckline, as well as the keyhole in the back. If you're looking for a super easy Tunisian crochet project, an introduction to Tunisian crochet garments, I would highly recommend this pattern. My only caveat was sometimes the pattern, depending on the type of bra that you're wearing, it might show your bra, so just keep that in mind. It's not a game breaker, game changer, or anything like that. I would still make this 100 times over again, and I'm really happy about it. It's cropped, so it hits just kind of like around my the top of my pants or shorts or jeans, and I really love that fit. So those are my 3 completed projects for my Make 9. They were both on the original and the final list. And so now I want to go through the projects that I'm going to keep on my updated Make 9. These are projects that I had planned on making, and I still plan on making in the new top 9. So the first project that was on the original and is still on the new Make 9 is my ranunculus. I have just changed a little bit the yarn that I want to use for this, and so the ranunculus is a very popular pattern that hits the knitting world by storm. A lot of people have made multiple ranunculuses. It's got a very unique start in that all sizes start the same, which I think is really awesome. It's super customizable in terms of the yarn you use, the needle you use, and what I mean by yarn weight. And so people have made it in all different sizes, short sleeves, long sleeves, neckline, just a really great pattern. And I still really want to make this year, and I will find time probably later in the fall to get this on my needles, because I do have several knitted projects on my needles right now, and so I don't see myself casting this on until later this year. But I had originally set aside different yarn for this, and now I'm going to I've changed my mind on the yarn I wanted to use, and so I have 2 skeins of this Malabrigo yarn in the colorway Impressionist Sky. I had originally planned that to be used for a different project, but now I would like to use it for ranunculus. I just really love this blue, and it's Malabrigo sock in Impressionist Sky. They don't make Impressionist Sky in their Arroyo or their Rios line. I wish they did. I would love a sweater, like a long sleeve sweater in it, but right now they just have it in their sock yarn. So I have 2 skeins of this, which is plenty of yarn for this project. Yeah, I don't really have anything other to say. That the ranunculus is still on and still planning. This is just the updated yarn that I'm going to use for the project. So the next project that I had on the original Make 9 and now the updated Make 9 is the Love is Love crop by Courtney Clark. The only thing, again, that I'm changing on this is the yarn that I am using for this project. I had originally intended to use some Sorella Cashmere DK for this project, but because it's I would call it a summertime cropped tank, I wanted to choose different yarn. I also wanted to use that yarn because that yarn is like at that sweet spot for like a knitted tank. And so I think I want to dedicate that yarn to something else, but I still wanted to make this project without, you know, having to get different yarn, seeing what I could stash bust out of my yarn stash. And so I found this Hobbii Twister, which is a blend of cotton and acrylic. It's 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. It says it's a sport weight yarn. I think that's pretty generous. I think this probably sits a little bit closer to a fingering weight. So I'm holding this double to get the DK weight that is required for this pattern. And I actually made a swatch for the pattern, and I'm just on gauge, so I should be good to go there. I'm gonna make size extra large, and this will get cast on probably later this summer or early fall in my plans. I'm waiting for some stuff to just get off my needles. I'm probably gonna cast this on after I finish my Tolsta. I have several current, I have several current tests on my hooks and test plans, and so I really want to kind of free up some space before I cast this on. But you'll see that me cast this on before the end of the year, and it will get completed this year. So those are the 2 projects that I had originally planned on in my original Make 12 and now new Make 9. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is what I'm swapping out and why I'm swapping out. So the first project that I had on the original list was the Love Note, and this was a project that I was going to make for my daughter, and it was a lace weight or a lace knitted top that I was going to make for my daughter in the size 2T. And I had originally cast on this at some point this year, but I could never make the yarn work. I was also having needle issues, and I couldn't, you know, I was, again, very new into knitting garments, and I couldn't get the yoke working. And so I just kind of set that aside. And as I'm evaluating and I'm signing up for other tests or want to do other things, something else came to the forefront. And so that is the Explorer Mini Sweater by Violet Loops, which will come out later this year. I'm actually in the test group, and I am making the 3T. And I've actually just cast this on, and so I thought I'd show you what I'm working on and what the yarn I'm using for that. So I am using this Color Theory yarn, which is Lion Brand Color Theory yarn. And this is the colorway, I think it's called Stonewash. I finally got I had showed you on my last podcast the yarn that I was using, just not the right color. So it's a worsted weight yarn in the colorway Stone Wash. And this is the main color for the crocheted sweater. And this is the accent colorway. It is the color Tourmaline, which is this really great sea glass green or stony green that I really love. And I really love this line from Lion Brand because all the colors are meant to go together. So I really love these two together. Although it's a worsted weight yarn by the number classification, it does work up more like a DK. I'm meeting gauge, except for the colorwork part. I'm meeting gauge on the rest of the body just because the pattern calls for DK weight yarn. And so I thought I'd show it to you so you can I just cast this on a few days ago, so it's not very far, but it's a colorwork sweater. I'll put up a picture of the adult version. So what's great is she already has the adult version done, but that is the neckline, the yoke for the sweater as it is today. I just started the colorwork row, and so this is my new kind of child garment on my Make 9, the Explorer Mini from Jennifer Leverett, which comes out later this year. So I wanted to, in the spirit of switching out, giving myself that opportunity to switch out, I still wanted to make something for my daughter, and so she's growing like a beanpole. So I'm making a 3T sweater. Hopefully that will still fit her when I'm done. I did measure her chest, and based on the measurements for the sweater, I should still have some ease. So hopefully it will fit her still by the time she, this winter when she can wear it. The next project that I had on my original list was the Homegirl sweater. It was a crocheted, like oversized sweater that I was going to use some yarn that I had in my stash. I went to cast this on multiple times and I just wasn't feeling it. I really fell in love with Tunisian crochet and just head over heels with Tunisian crochet. And I really didn't want to make anything crochet. Although I am making that Explorer mini sweater, I just didn't really want to make a crocheted sweater. I would make a Tunisian crochet sweater. I just didn't want to make a crocheted sweater. And so that is why I decided that the Indecision sampler sweater that I am currently testing is now going to replace the Homegirl sweater. This is a Tunisian crochet sweater, again by Jennifer Leverett at violet.loops on Instagram, and it is a choose your own adventure sweater. I am making a cropped version of it, and I am almost done. It'll probably take me another month or so to get it done because I still have to make 2 sleeves and do all the ribbing accents for it, both at the neck, the body, and the arms. But I just wanted to switch out a crocheted sweater for a Tunisian crocheted sweater. So that is it. I had just actually joined the shoulders together last week, and so my next project is going to be the neckline. And yeah, just switching it out. The yarn that I'm using for this project, by the way, is La Bien-Aimée Merino DK in the colorway Tidal Whispers. Yes, Tidal Whispers. If not, I'll correct it on screen. So the next project that I'm switching out and actually already have on my needle. So originally I was going to do the Salty Air Tee, and I still want to do the Salty Air Tee, but it'll probably be next year sometime. I am switching that out with the Playdate Tee, and you have seen, if you've watched my podcast, you've seen the Playdate Tee on my channel for weeks now. I'm almost done. Just have 2 sleeves to go. I actually just cast off the body last week, and this is the Playdate Tee by Callie Reedy. I did the ribbing, and now for the body, cast off the body. It's folding up for some reason, probably because I don't know if when I size down the needles, but it likes to fold up. But this is just a simple kind of raglan tee, but it has the eyelet details for the raglan increases, yarn overs. And then I am using the yarn Nouveau in the colorway Lydia, which is a yak DK, their yak DK base. It's a blend of merino, yak, and silk. And there's nothing, again, my podcast, I've said a lot about this project, but it's a simple swap to me. It's a knitted tee for a knitted tee. The only thing is, the difference is the first one, the Salty Air Tee, had a lot more lace work. I don't know if I'm ready for lace work, and I think the ranunculus is going to be the first project that I do with a ton of lace in it. And so I do want to make the Salty Air Tee. It just didn't make the cut this year, and I just made a swap. And so that is the adult Playdate Tee by Callie Reedy, and it's just a knitted tee for a knitted tee swap. So my last swap is I was originally going to make the Field Day cardigan. It is a knitted cardigan, I think by Ozetta, and I have a knit friend at Stitch Night who is making the Field Day, and I just saw her starting work, and I was a little intimidated by like the start and what you need to do through it. And I was like, maybe I need to switch this out. And so what I'm going to be switching it out for is the Ava cardigan by Petite Knit. I'm still going to use the same yarn, which is Baliora fiber, Merino DK in the colorway River Spey. It's this really great dark blue that I love. And it's 100% superwash merino, and there's about 218 yards in this skein. Again, one of the skills that I wanted to learn next, or attempt in my knitting, is to not knit in the round. And so I'm hoping the Ava cardigan will be a little bit simpler. I have the pattern, I've read through it. It doesn't seem too difficult for me. And so, but again, this will probably be a late fall cast on, just because I have a lot of other projects in the works, along with some tests in the works that are not part of the Make 9 that I need to get finished before then. So you'll probably see me cast this on in October or November of this year, later this year, but I'm hopeful that I can still crank it out before the end of the year. So the last thing I want to talk to you about is the 3 projects that I'm removing from my original Make 12 so that I can have a Make 9. So that is the Sunday morning wrap, the leftover city cowl. It's not a cowl, is it? It might be considered a cowl. And the Mount Pleasant tee. Some thoughts and rationale on that. So the Sunday morning wrap and the leftover city cowl, I didn't want to make another accessory. I have no plans to make another accessory this year unless it's a gift item. And I have several shawls and cowls in my kind of wardrobe, and I didn't want to make something, another accessory. I'm kind of done with shawls for the time being. and the cowl didn't interest me enough to want to make it. It's also very color work heavy, and so I was just not ready for that. And I knew that when I originally made that list, it was like let me throw this in, and so I'm taking it out. And the reason I'm taking out the Mount Pleasant, again, there's several other projects I want to make before I make that. I can still see myself making it in the future. One of the things with the Mount Pleasant though is the lace work. It's a bottom up top, and so the lace work is done first because it's a lace work accents around the bottom kind of like hem of the tee, and I didn't know if I was ready for that. And so to kind of just make this an easy make 9, it got the cut. And so I can see myself making that in the future. I just don't know when, and I don't know if I would make it a part of my make 9 in the future. I like it, and I think when I really want to be ambitious and I feel like my skill set is there, I'll be ready to make that, but I'm not sure if it'll make the cut for a for sure kind of like make 9 in the future. So that's it. That's my new make 9. So my new make 9 is the Munich Cardi, the Lento, and the double take Tunisian crochet tank, which are completed. The Love is Love crop, the ranunculus, the Explorer mini sweater, the Indecision sampler sweater, the Playdate tee, and the Ava cardigan. So my original 12 had 2 Tunisian crochet projects, 1 crochet, and 9 knitted projects, which blows my mind. Like, what was I ever thinking when I said I was gonna make 9 knitted projects? 9 knitted well, no, a couple of those were knitted accessories, but 7 of those were knitted garments. And I'm like, what was I thinking? I don't know where my headspace was when I was making that original list. Very ambitious is what I can say. Maybe I could have done that if all I was doing was knitting, but you know me, I love my Tunisian crochet projects. And so the new make 9 has 3 Tunisian crochet projects finished, 2 crochet projects, which is again crazy because I'm not really a crocheter these days, a regular crocheter. I'm much better Tunisian crochet, but the 2 crochet projects are much smaller projects. It's a tank top as well as a child sweater. And the child sweater, honestly, once I get past the colorwork yoke, will fly off my hook. And 4 knitted projects, all of which were garments, one of which I've already completed, and 1 is already almost done. So I'll almost have 2 completed knit. So then I'll just have to worry about the other 2. I'm really happy with the new make 9. I think I will definitely get 7 of the 9 for sure done. The 2 question marks that I have still on whether I will finish, I will definitely cast on, but will I finish before the end of the year, is that Ava cardigan and the ranunculus. We'll see. I mean, I try to keep at least 1 knitted project on my needles at all times, but I'm also casting on things that are not on the make 9. I have a Tolsta tee on my needles that I'm gonna finish because I just really like it. I have plans to make other knitted things too. So it's just about what kind of serotonin I really want to kind of like, if I need a serotonin cast on, or if I want to kind of stick to my make 9. So definitely for sure I will have 7 of the 9 done before the end of the year. It's just those other 2 that we'll see. We'll see how they progress. I'm not going to give myself a hard time if I don't finish it. It's just kind of a nice way to kind of think about your projects for the end of the year, or for the year, and think about what you want to complete. I also like that I was able, and I gave myself the opportunity to kind of reevaluate and revisit, and I will do that again next year as well. I don't see myself, sticking ever to a full complete make 9, just because that doesn't give you the flexibility to be inspired by new projects throughout the year or new tests. I have another test that I'm working on I haven't started it yet, but I did the swatch for that I'm really gonna love. I really believe I'm gonna love this sweater. It's Tunisian crochet. It looks just like a knitted cable sweater, and I'm really, really excited about that. So that's it. That's my Make 9 for the year. How's your projects going on this year? How's your Make 9 going? You know, have you completed it? Have you gotten through a lot of projects on your Make 9? Are you making switches just like me? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'd love to hear how your Make 9's going this year. Up next, you'll get a podcast from me, and then my next project update after that might be flock. I can't remember. I don't know my timing of my calendars, but after my next podcast might be some flock updates. It will either be that or another podcast, then flock updates. But flock is around the corner, and I am super excited. That Playdate tee, that's my flock along project. It's actually yarn that I got from flock last year. So I'm excited that this is almost done. And I'll be able to wear this on one of the days at flock. So thank you so much for watching, friends. I will see you in my next video. Bye now.